I always get huge pops, guy. John's a bad type, make the mock fans mad type, make a wish kid sad type, might seduce Cody's wife. John's a bad guy. What?
Silly Irish.
I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture. Joined by Michael Hamflett and Phil Chambers from WhatCulture to talk about all the goings on in wrestling this week. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. We do daily wrestling podcasts where we review Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week complete with a big quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Phil and Hamflett. Only really one place to start. John Cena's a heel. What?
Still figuring it out. Still sort of talking myself into thinking it definitely happened. You know, you say the show formerly known as 2.0 was last week the world formerly known as 1.0, and we're in this new one still. It's brilliant, isn't it? It's absolutely brilliant. I'm trying to soak this up in two different ways. One is in this most privileged of seats where we get to cover wrestling for a living, and we get to cover this absolute once-in-a-generation sized thing. All of us as a team, none of us worked together when The Undertaker lost to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30.
Nope.
And I would say that's the last one that this compares to. If you want to go even bigger, like, I mean, we're all in our 30s, but none of us are even old enough to be covering it when Hulk Hogan joined the NWO in 99. And here we are now. And the fact that, like, as fans, we get so few of these in our lifetimes as fans, it's even better. It's even bigger because you know instantly when it's happened and it feels different to everything else, the sheer size and scale of it. And I've said it to you when we previewed Raw, and we previewed SmackDown. I understand the thirst to get the first words out of John Cena's mouth and the first posts on his socials and the first moment that he's going to be advertised to one of these TV tapings. I do. But I am loving so much living in this hinterland of unknown and confusion. And like, if you play the clip again on Twitter, on somebody, when you're scrolling down your timeline, you end up watching the whole thing. If you see the way that Raw edited it amongst like the shock and awe of it all, you kind of end up watching that again. The footage isn't getting old. The moment isn't getting old.
Nope.
Like the goosebumps are coming up as I'm talking about it. You cannot overstate it, and that's fun. And I don't mind living here a little bit. I want to get to WrestleMania now, but for this time of year, I've never been so happy for it to still be like a month and a bit away.
I know his thoughts on it. Obviously, we talked a lot about it this week. Phil, what was your reaction to it all?
It was nuts. I actually watched it.
You're going to reveal a new tattoo.
I actually got
my John Cena
tattoo. I got the date tattoo. I didn't watch it live because I'm not a crazy person. But I watched it the next morning.
Spoiled?
No.
Oh, great.
I was like, because I was just like, I'm just going to have a chill morning and like watch the Elimination Chamber. Didn't bother going on Twitter or anything. So I was like just merrily watching along. And it got to that point where it's like, you know, when you kind of match is over, like, oh yeah, this is cool. Like you sort of almost stop paying attention to it and like you start doing something else or whatever because it's your Sunday. And then it's like, and then like the hug happened. And yeah.
Wilbourn reckons he knows stuff, but I'm not convinced.
But yeah, it just opens up so much and like everything has changed now from this point on. And then like you're saying about just living in the land in between, like that Punk promo on Raw, was like goddamn amazing. But that wouldn't have I mean, Punk's amazing at promos. He can cut like a fantastic promo like whenever, as long as he's like fired up about something. But that wouldn't have hit anywhere near as hard without the John Cena thing on Elimination Chamber. So like that informed Punk's promo and made that like so much better because of the situation that it was sort of surrounded by.
Yeah. What a time that I don't want to make this John Cena thing all about a Punk. But the cool thing is that like everything's about everything in a like well-oiled WWE. We joke about champion or things that have changed and evolved within WWE that has got us to this point we're at now. What a just unbelievable time that we're in. John Cena can do a thing like that, and who else but CM Punk to try and usher all of us from one place to another, the end of Elimination Chamber to the start of Raw. Like, what a gift he is, and it must have been for Triple H to be like, who carries this opening segment? How does anybody come out and make this feel like an episode of Monday Night Raw after an event that big? CM Punk does it. Like, that's the guy. Like, a million times out of a million, you pick him because he's going to, like, address everything in a way that feels totally authentic. He's going to simultaneously capture the voice of the audience and be able to, like, target his opponent in his feud, which was Seth Rollins, but keep those two things interlocked. And that's been such a part of WWE's massive success, is having all these big stories, like, interconnected in some way or another. Like, the quality was never in doubt. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to start making a bit out of this. He's the best in the world. Like, he's the best all the time. Like, you're backing a relatively safe horse, admittedly with some dangerous habits. You're backing a fairly safe horse with CM Punk as a performer. Like, when it comes to your promos, and even to that was, like, Seth Rollins could have done something. Every character could have reacted in some way to this. That's how big it was. But if you get that wrong, and you don't measure it correctly, like, even the commentators were good, but it took somebody to have to, like, right, we're going to have to get on with this. We're going to have to live in the post-apocalyptic world. And that was like, it was as much rallying cry post-heel turn as it was, I'm going to kick Seth Rollins' ass and you two are bald frauds. Like, which I'm thinking about that now as well. I love the Fed, mate. It's the best.
Mr. James, hi to Mr. James in the chat. Hi to everyone in the chat. I'll get to your questions in due course, I promise. But Mr. James appropriately says, John Cena should go bald for this heel run. There was a Wessel votes, not Wrestle votes, Wessel votes. Wessel votes even tweet about this that got me. And I was like, yep, could buy that.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously you weren't here on Tuesday. Listen up, you bald frauds.
Oh my God. Both of them. With your bullshit. Cathartic. Amazing. I've seen a lot of comments to the tune of, like there's Angry Punk. Haven't had much of him yet, which people thought you're never going to get that one in WWE because it's as if it sort of somehow like neutralizes the act, or it has to be CM Punk but with stabilizers on or something like that. I just think he knows when to go up the gears.
Yeah,
I think
and you can't be in that gear at all because then it wouldn't be special. Like picking your moments and picking that time on Raw was the perfect time to bring it out.
Yeah,
because it felt informed by things that had happened. So like the characters making the right decision to be pissed off in the end, not really a decision, but you know, like the right reaction, the right emotions for it. But yeah, if you did it all the time, it would mean absolutely nothing. It'd just get boring. It's just like, CM Punk doing his angry man bit.
The words are so big. You can't call Dwayne Johnson a fraud because it's what we're all thinking. And if you say it, if a character says it in the storyline universe, then it's like, are we allowed to think this now? And you can't call John Cena bald. Because it's only when he's prepared to accept it are we allowed to acknowledge it too, and he just does both at the same time. Like that's electrifying stuff. That's the no pun intended. That's the kind of stuff where we still don't quite know how CM Punk's WrestleMania is going to shake out. But if there was a situation, and who knows at this point, I don't think so, but we were talking about this on SmackDown. If there's at any point a conversation in which they think, should we do the night 1, night 2 tag deal again? Should we do Rock and Cena together against Cody +1? Yeah, Punk's just made himself the +1, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So he's done it. He's that idea, like people think I'm out of options. He's even dropping that one in. And we know there's the favour, and we know that politics exist. So the fact that you would just go out on Raw and say people think I'm out of options, like
the fact that you can dominate the conversation the day after or 2 days after.
He's the best. He's the best.
I just couldn't believe it.
Let's be real. He should probably main event WrestleMania at some point. But like, he broadly seems fine with it.
Yeah, so I never thought I'd feel so good when CM Punk, like this time last week, when CM Punk didn't win the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he's like, Cena, you stole something from me. And he was a babyface when he did it. Yeah. It was a very heelish thing to do of just like, thank you very much, Seth.
Yeah.
I'll take that stomp and just choke the life out of an already passed out person. But at the time, it's still like, oh, bloody John.
It's just like... Everybody, like now, I love Roman Reigns. There's something about like a Hulk Hogan longevity thing where you could have it as long as he wants it, and like the world will feel whole because Cody's the WWE champion. But we're all now thinking about the prospect of John Cena's last 7 or 8 months as a heel WWE champion that nobody can get near. He works a part-time schedule, so he's a mercenary. When he does wrestle, he's John friggin' Cena. Who's going to stop him?
Yeah.
He's going to cut up, like if he cuts a promo saying, I'm leaving WWE and I'm leaving with the WWE title, and you get that match with Punk.
Yeah.
You get Cody.
That Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank, potentially like Cody having one last chance to beat him in December, or another babyface getting that opportunity, like at Survivor Series. Who knows? But everything is possible regardless of who wins at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's a main event, like a generational main event in every single
It's
respect.
allayed all your fears about WrestleMania, hasn't it, really, this?
Kind of,
There's other
yeah.
stuff that still has to fall into place, and there will no doubt be some multi-person matches that maybe they've been better as singles matches. But what we know we're getting already, particularly, we'll talk about Io Sky in a second, particularly across the board with the world title matches, I haven't got a problem with any of them. I think they're all, like, the one I would have had an issue with, and I would have accepted it and got excited about it, would have been babyface John Cena versus babyface Cody Rhodes, or Tweener if you want to try and start turning Cody with that. That might have been interesting in terms of, like, the Homelander thing that people have talked about, but it would feel strange for him to do that against, you know, John Cena, who's not going to push him to his limits as a babyface, because, like, all we got, like, the sneak peek that we got, like you say, because it happened the pay-per-view afterwards, was him just like, wow, here's Seth Rollins as well, and then the Punk is here, it's me, you, Roman, and you're like, yeah, very good, John. 11 months left, don't worry. Now, what? You got that? You got Yeet versus Gunther. You've got Tiffy versus Charlotte, which I've been excited about for months now. And right now, I suppose, Bianca Belair, who was the perfect choice to win the Elimination Chamber, versus Io Sky, versus Rhea Ripley. Mate of mine texted me about this morning, going, what's going on with Rhea Ripley? And I was like, I think they might sneak her back in there, because she lost clean. There's no interference, but they left that door open, didn't they?
That backstage promo thing with her as well was like damn good as well. The kind of like disappointed Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
It was like a side of her that we've not seen, but like an extra layer to that character.
Yeah, they keep... I'm so mixed on this. You're right, by the way. You're so right. It's a good observation, this. The main event being that does do a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of getting you excited for WrestleMania in a way that didn't feel quite right before Elimination Chamber, and in reality, it's only one added match, isn't it? Like, I know you've got the women's title match added now, but even then, it doesn't feel like we know it. So the simple act of turning John... The simple act of this match being in the shadow of a heel turn is what makes it as big feeling as it does, and everything else can now feed into it theoretically. Of all the million new conversations there are about WrestleMania as opposed to this time last week, the most interesting one currently is the night one main event arms race, isn't it? Like, if CM Punk and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins is a match, like, I don't feel great about it now, but I'm willing to let that one play out and see how it feels when all three are actually talking it up.
Yeah.
See what happens next week on Raw, Steel Cage.
Cage match, Roman's return, presumably, if he even wants it, I don't know. But, like, if those three trying to talk their way into that main event slot is going to be fascinating. Like, Gunther Jay in the Road to Chamber felt like it was the nailed-on night one main event. And I would still argue you could make it that way. Main event Jey Uso, wins the Royal Rumble. There's all optics reasons to go with that, you know? Yeah. Charlotte Flair, like a known political operator and a shrewd one at that on occasion, like, has picked a spot here and just, all right, I'll go heel. Like, she knows where she fits. Rhea Ripley's this massive star. There's a lot of people that are going to want one spot because Cena and Cody have got night two sewn up.
It's also like probably, at least since Mania went 2 nights, I'd say, like, it feels like that main event slot is worth everything.
Yes.
Again, like we talk about like Punk wanting it like years and years and years back, and that kind of made it feel like a special thing because this guy was like absolutely goddamn desperate for this spot. Yeah. And it like, and then over the years, it kind of just became a thing. Like the opening match was like almost just as important as the main event match, at least when they were like 8-hour shows or whatever. And then when the 2-night thing happened, it's like, oh, well, there's 2 now, so it kind of gets spread out a little bit. But like now, it just, that feels special again and like a thing worth fighting for and a thing that people are like genuinely elevating themselves and the TV product for. Yeah.
Were you as surprised as the rest of us? And I suppose as well, you got the fascinating side of things now of like, it's not the same, but you got 2 main events at SummerSlam this year because you got 2 nights there as well. Were you as surprised as the rest of us with the Io Sky win? Not like bad surprise by any stretch of the imagination, but when we talked about it, you and I and Sidge also said, yeah, I can see a schmoz and them just going, triple threat. Or Rhea Ripley wins and you get Rhea versus Bianca, which is awesome as well, obviously, and has got a lot of history there. I don't think many people thought Io wins clean. Io wins to potentially just do a singles match with Bianca Belair or obviously have the triple threat involving Rhea. No,
I was surprised and pleasantly so as well. I thought it was quite bold. I thought it was an interesting choice to make with the Rhea Ripley character, considering that like not only she's the top star and she is in this women's division at this point, but even though she doesn't wrestle a great deal, she is cast as just the most physically dominant. So beating her is a challenge in and of itself. And if you really stop and think about it, it never truly jives up with who she is, especially as a babyface. She's, considering that she's like of this scary aesthetic from the back end of the Judgment Day, she's quite a warm babyface, but a killer in the ring.
Yeah.
But then doesn't wrestle a lot. So has she still kept her weapons sharp? And maybe the answer to that is no, and maybe that'll factor into it as well. She feels like her performance, Phil, that backstage thing with Jackie Redmond, and it was kind of carried over from when she was just screaming at the end of Raw.
Yeah.
That spoke to a woman that maybe like has realised she screwed up. And I think that's a really interesting like direction to take with Rhea Ripley, the babyface. They're looking for just the right amount of sympathy without inadvertently making this like dominant killer, the Nightmare, look pitiable. It's a tightrope they've got to walk with it. But I was quite impressed they went for it. Like, they've made you question where, like, is Bianca Belair starting to enter a bit of a grey area as a heel/babyface? Perfect time for that now that Jade Cargill's come back. Because if you want to start thinking that, can you trust Bianca Belair all the way here? You can then start to think, did she just let her friend die and put on an acting performance of a lifetime in the chamber because it was her that orchestrated the attack on, I know she was in the ring, but she could have got somebody to put the hit out on Jade. Like, Io Sky feels like the only steady hand of the three of them. She's the women's champion. She said she wanted to win the belt. She won the belt. Her road is the clearest road of all. Like, Bianca and Rhea's personal conflict might get in the way of either of them winning the title at WrestleMania, and Io might retain. And then you've got, to your point about SummerSlam, you've potentially kept the first proper big singles Rhea and Bianca match for like a SummerSlam night 1 main event or something, or a night 2. If it's big enough, you're holding on to this massive singles match. And I think we've all said it in all of these multi-man discussions. This women's one's the only one where you're like, yeah, all right, the triple threat sounds pretty good. Like, the rest of them all feel like compromises. This one feels pretty cool.
Yeah. As well, like, Bianca Rhea, like, as a match, amazing, obviously. But it's like, as a story leading up, they've still got a month and a half to get to Mania.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't a lot there in terms of, it was Bianca won the Royal Rumble, Rhea was the champion. That's kind of it in terms of like story-wise. They probably would have, like, without like taking out the Io Sky thing, like they could have layered some things in, obviously, but there wasn't like a lot else there to work with. And it could have ended up with being an amazing match. Like, Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks had a pretty crappy story going into it, but the match itself was absolutely goddamn amazing. So like, it would have worked out in the end, but like this, like, it's again, like you said, the Cena heel turn was, look, this one simple thing has changed it. But like, this other one simple thing of changing the champion, like on TV, has added so much more intrigue into every single episode of TV going forwards. And like, so you've got this, you've got the John Cena thing, you've got where the hell is the other main event going to lay out, what is going to happen with CM Punk and Seth Rollins. Like, there's so many questions now in the run up to WrestleMania where you still must watch TV because you want to find out what's going to happen. Whereas quite a few years now, like, everything gets laid out and you're just seeing them get to what is already been laid out in a way. Whereas this, like, there's so many more questions and like layers on it, and it's like you've just got to keep on watching to find out.
They're wise to like, these are not just any TVs, other they're on like a European tour. They're going to be in hot like towns when they're in America. These are potentially like they're gonna have consequences. You're going to go to a Raw if it's in one of these European dates, or if it's on the last hot American cities. You're going to go to a Raw with WrestleMania ramifications, which, like, at this time of year, you would think, are they going to be in like New York? They're going to be, I know they're going to be in the Garden, but like New York and then Chicago and just like those hot towns, those hot places that always get that sort of stuff. Not necessarily this time. Like, they're going all over the shop, and there's every chance that on one of these dates that you attend, you're getting this enormous WrestleMania thing. Like, they're not just getting there. Yeah. They're getting there via all these cool events that are events on their own. Like, you see Roman Reigns and Bologna advertised. You're in Bologna, you're over the friggin' moon. Yeah. Like, oh, I'm going to SmackDown. Oh, yeah. It's just like European show, is it? Nope. Like, it's Roman Reigns returning.
Yeah.
What? Like, it's massive.
Cena might talk for the first time in Glasgow, I heard today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mad. But it's also first Mania on Netflix. Or second, first Mania
on Netflix, yeah.
So they're not like selling pay-per-view buys or anything.
No.
The seats that they're selling for WrestleMania, and they're selling a lot of them, they're very expensive and they're going to make a hell of a lot of money. But they're selling them based on how hot the WWE as a whole is. They're not selling it based on one match. So they can afford to hold a few of these things back because they don't need a match to put butts in seats because the butts are already in the goddamn seats. Yeah. So they've got all of these benefits to just the product being generally hot that they can rely upon and just keep these far more interesting storylines going forwards because they don't have the pressure of selling out the rest of
Yeah.
or anything.
It's looking easy to manage both at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
The weekly TV churn, as we would typically call it, doesn't feel like churn.
No.
And the big, to your point, the big stadium show / the big, like, B shows whenever they run, wherever they run for the various middle events, don't feel difficult to keep separate from one another at all, do they? Elimination Chamber had 4 matches.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I know 2 were Chambers, but like 4 matches, and nobody will have left Sky Dome unhappy with the money they spent, the extortionate price they would have spent on those tickets. Not one bit.
Let's talk a little bit more about Elimination Chamber, though, because like you say, you had the 2 Chamber matches. You had Jade Cargill and Randy Orton return. Who do you want to tackle first? Jade, I feel like you've been talking a lot about her, so...
I want to tackle Jade after the way she tackled Naomi. Jesus Christ.
Unbelievable, wasn't it? Like, because we'd been speculating on it for a long time. Oh, is this the SmackDown they're going to show up? Oh, you've got Liv and Raquel. Is that the moment Bianca shows up and they get distracted or whatever? And then even the Chamber, I'm sat there watching it when I get back from the 40th weekend that was on. I'm like, okay, entrance. Probably skips, okay. Right, bell's about to ring. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen here. What the hell's happening? And she comes out and just, the way they laid it out was magnificent. The whole Liv Morgan, no, Naomi. What? Not me.
Impeccable. I've said it on the Elimination Chamber review. I'll say it again. It was my WWE match of the year, that Women's Chamber. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I thought it smoked the men's one.
Oh, God, absolutely. Cena and Punk were magic together.
Yeah.
Everything else,
Yeah.
like just action-packed. And to do the Jade and Naomi thing, to give that all the profile and then leave the match to shine in its own spotlight was really inspired. It wasn't that kind of running. It wasn't the amazing finish, but it wasn't a big thing at the end.
Yes.
You got to make them feel different as well, haven't you? You know, they were basically like, they erected a stage and then they theoretically burnt that stage down with the Jade and Naomi thing. And then in the time that they were wheeling Naomi out on a stretcher, like Kazuchika Liv Carter built a new one, and then just you watched Her Majesty play out.
She's the best, isn't she?
The friggin' Wrestler of the Year. Like, what a playground she made it. Like, just a pinball in that goddamn thing. Like, everything.
That goddamn hair whip.
Oh,
Jesus.
The whole match. Like, she was the in-ring general. She was the kind of like bumper for hire. You know, she was the most like integral character to everybody in that match. You know, we were talking like the tiny things. Like, she was constantly going for the hair, so she had that hair whip coming. They're very judicious with that.
Yeah.
But she had it coming.
It's been a long time since we've had one, isn't it?
Yeah. The friggin' way you see it full extension when she's jamming her, it's like, you're going to need to pay for this, Liv. I love you now, but you're going to need to pay for this. And then how that like extended to Bayley not doing it, because she's still desperate to win Bianca's trust back. So there's a little thing just for Bayley as a result of what Liv Morgan is doing.
And using
like,
Bianca's hair for the pin was just, I love it.
Oh my God. Like,
Yo-yo spot as well. Like
Yeah.
between the ropes and
they roll back to, you won't have seen this, Wilbourn. Do you remember, Phil, Elimination Chamber 2020, when Shayna Baszler just monstered Liv Morgan with those swinging?
Yeah, I do remember that.
Bringing
one.
that
It's quite
back.
a good one.
Yeah, good bump.
People just didn't care. All the bumps into the pods were insane this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, you do know there's metal bits between the nice sort of plexiglass you can bounce off with. People, I was like, what? You do know you got to work in a few weeks, don't you?
It's just, they were going for it. Just a magnificent match, so full of violence. It didn't, the Chamber's so strange because it's one of those things in wrestling, like a lot of wrestling. You kind of have to not think too much about it, otherwise it's pretty silly. Punk played on that, didn't he? Let me out. They know it's me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not like, I love it when you can kind of like just pierce that veneer a little bit.
I like the
Me too. Yeah, funny from game show stuff. But that's it. It's a bit game showy.
Yeah.
Especially since they rejigged it, which for the health of the wrestlers, fantastic.
Yes.
But like, especially as a rejig, it doesn't look as scary. So the job of the wrestlers is to kind of make this like prop from the chase look like
Of the show in terms of, and then it's just kind of not escalation, but like that, and then
the tone was set, wasn't it?
yeah, then the Randy Orton thing, and then like ready for that main event. Like it's almost to the point where it's like, oh, we'll throw all of these things at you, so the main event has that much more impact because you can't possibly think there'll be something else, like another surprise at the end of it as well. But yeah, they made the most of that opening match, and every single one of the women in that match deserves something because even Naomi would just that reaction, and then the sell of
what a
Jade
beating
Cargill
shot.
killed her, and then the drag her out. It's like everyone got their own moment in that, and Naomi just got the crap kicked out of her. That was it.
Showing out.
Roxanne Perez was excellent, as we know she can be, but especially in these multi-woman settings, she really stands out. I love what they're doing. I don't know how they can keep on doing it. I don't know what exactly she's got or what the goal is, but I love what they're doing with Alexa Bliss right now. Jesus Christ, people love it when she does anything. So she can tease a move and it gets as big a pop as people delivering them.
Yeah.
You know? And they know that, and they're acknowledging that, and they're playing with that, and it's just... on television, you're getting the Wyatt teases, so maybe at WrestleMania she's in something Wyatt related. We talked about, like, would she not be perfect to fight Chelsea Green for the US title? Like, that contrast immediately makes sense to you, doesn't it? Like, she was the exact right person to put in for the purpose of Star.
Zayn had damn near killed each other.
Yep.
So it is the direction they're going in. And as much as people were like, I don't know about whether you should do Kevin and Sammy at WrestleMania, I think kind of been justified, really, to be honest.
I think it's like we said last week about, like, if you can't, like, them at Mania.
Lads, thank you, Larry.
Oh, thank you, Larry. I keep looking at the camera, and why would I bother?
Yeah, I do too. Force of habit, isn't it? But yeah, apologies. I hope the super chats that everyone sent in, they appreciate us reading them, even if they can't see us reading them for the time being. But hey.
All right, you're back on.
Oh.
But I'm not holding out hope that it's going to last.
Okay, we might be back.
And it's already gone buffering. So we'll see.
John Harrison typed, hey, and then I looked over at Phil's computer and we got the old pinwheel of
It
death.
gives the 23 people who are actually left on this.
Sorry, guys.
The mad 23 people,
Thank you,
by the way. You've just been sat watching a little wheel spinning, but thank you.
What an amazing community.
Gives them a bit of hope, at least.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone who stuck with us. But as always, podcasts. That's the way forward.
Yeah,
That's where it's our bread and butter.
a full, clean as a whistle, sharp as a thistle version of this will be in the podcast feed.
You know it.
Like, and if we'd never spoken about this, you never know.
Right. So, do you want to take a wild guess as to what this week's quiz is about, you two?
Heel turns.
Roderick Trong.
It's not, definitely not about him. Nothing against the character on
Seals.
social media.
Seals. Seal, the singer.
Seal.
We're never going to survive unless we're going to lose.
Do I ever take that on? I don't think I can take on a Seal song.
I think you could.
We'll see.
Baby, remember early dynamite with Nyla Rose. I think you could. I think you should.
No? Not
Solitary Brother. Adamski. Featuring Seal.
There you go.
I was very close to being a bit of a basic bitch and writing a John Cena quiz. Keep that in the back pocket.
Basic
Oh, yeah,
bitchonomics.
you never know when you might need that.
Yeah, exactly. And
It's all about jorts.
Oh, that's good too. No, it is all about wrestling in the year 2003.
Okay.
And why is that?
Because it was November 2003 when John Cena turned babyface.
John Cena officially turning face on the November 6th, 2003 edition of SmackDown, which means his face run lasted a total of 7,786 days.
Damn, son.
So I'm taking us back in time. As I said before, Phil, I apologise. I did not
It's
realise you were
basic
going to be up
thugonomics.
against...
Well,
Oh, yeah. Mr. Brain over here.
wait a second. Let me tell you a quick personal story. So the September to December of 2003, not only was I playing catch up, sometimes I was playing never even watch up, because that was when
How
I
old are
left-
you?
Your dark age was September to December in 1 year.
And not even that dark, to be honest. Not even that dark.
Maybe missed half the show.
It was because I left home and moved to university, where we didn't have a telly or anything in like halls of residence or anything like that. So it was primitive, WWE.com, reading the results. And all that kind of
Wow.
stuff. And my dad very kindly would tape as much as he could remember to record on like a long play video.
Classic.
Send me it in the post. I would watch it and I would send it back. We had a system, like, so it was, but it was, all that was kind of, I was having to feel that out. I was like, I need my fare, Dad. So we had to work that out for a little bit. So that's a somewhat sketchy area. Having said that, I did then, it was the first area I aimed for when the network launched in 2014.
Of course.
I see. I was not watching wrestling in 2003 at all and have never gone back to watch.
You and most of the people,
Hello.
mate, sucked.
Yeah.
Well, what was your
So,
2003?
yeah.
I don't think I was watching back then.
No.
I don't
was
remember a lot of it.
Drinking in university instead.
I was, how old would I have been?
You I was going to you're a bit younger than me, aren't you? We're on our 30s.
Cena heel turn, I'd have been, sorry, Cena face turn, I'd have been 15.
I know, I wouldn't have, I would have been in college. Last
Yeah.
year of college.
I was probably, chasing skirt, if anything. Failing miserably.
Say not catching it.
Yeah. Probably just focusing on my real passion, drama. But speaking of drama, let's talk about what happened in wrestling back in 2003.
Right.
Multiple choice. Shout your name. Wait for me to come to you. Remember, guys, those
I
just
look
for fun.
forward to losing.
It's just for
I
fun.
think there's one question on this
I think
entire...
it's the 10th question, and I think the answer is A.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Pass your bet.
We'll be riding on that. Question number 1.
Knob McBoobington.
You know me so well. Who was WWE
What do the
champion?
zeros in 2003 look like?
Who was WWE champion when John Cena turned babyface in November of 2003? Was it Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, or Triple H?
Phil, if in doubt, Triple H.
No, dear, that's wrong.
Brock Lesnar.
World Heavyweight Championship. That's what I got you with there.
2 belts.
It was Brock Lesnar, yes. At the first question number 2, at the first pay-per-view where John Cena was a babyface, Survivor Series 2003, which match took place? Was it a biker chain match, the APA Invitational Barroom Brawl, an ambulance match, or a redneck triathlon? Those were the days, huh?
2003 stunk. Like, great year in my personal life, but it stunk.
Is it E, all of the above?
Ooh.
So they all did take place on 2003 pay-per-views. The answer is the ambulance match. Yay! But
Who's in it?
Shane McMahon and Kane.
Yep.
But the Redneck Triathlon took place at Bad Blood 2003. The APA Barroom Brawl took place at Judgment Day 2003. And what was the other one?
Biker chain match.
Biker Chain match took place at No Mercy 2003. 2003 totally sucked.
So lucky you have this job, man.
You know, I thought you were just going to say you're so lucky you're married.
I mean, that too.
No, yeah.
Did you see the clip?
Any other job, you would have wasted your entire
An
life.
entire wasted life until it wasn't. Who would have seen this coming? Not me.
Did you see the clip from the person who posted, like, I'm never going on a Tinder date again? And it was the lad on a date going, you need to see this. John Cena's just turned heel. It was his size, mate.
Yeah, fair play. That's drop everything, isn't it?
If she's not interested,
right for that heel turn.
spin
if I
her
was
off.
single.
Yeah. Right, question number 3, 2-0 to Hamflett. Which of these things, you mentioned Kane was in the ambulance match, which of these things didn't Kane do in 2003? Was it electrocute Shane McMahon's testicles, tombstone Linda McMahon, set Jim Ross on fire, or fail to set off his pyro? The old...
Do you want to have
Nothing happened.
a puntsky on this one first, Phil?
What were the options again?
Shane's testicles, tombstone...
Linda still doing things by 2000?
Tombstone Linda McMahon, set Jim Ross on fire, or have a...
Phil, Linda, just because maybe they got bored of her by then.
No, dear, that's wrong.
The pyro, isn't it?
That was
2002?
2004. Bill to take a Kane.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Linda was doing stuff, Phil. Linda was getting tombstoned by Kane on the ramp
Obviously.
and, like, necking on with Eric Bischoff
Nice.
Oh,
while
I do
Vince
remember
produced
this.
it.
Yeah.
2003
Good.
sucked.
Question 4. Who, according to the Wrestling Observer Awards, was the most overrated wrestler of 2003?
It's number 1 with a bullet. I don't even care what the right answer is.
Was it Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, The Big Show, or Jeff Jarrett?
Right. Hamflett, right? The answer is in Triple H. Yeah. Like by a million miles.
I saw the votes on this, and it was like 433 plays 12 or something for the rest of them.
Horrible. Biker shorts, beating Goldberg in the chamber despite doing nothing for the duration. Reign of Terror. Like an awful year.
Unmasking Kane?
Unmasked Kane, just to get the credit for it, really. Racist towards Booker T and then wins at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Scott Steiner,
times.
brackets general. the worst of a terrible time. Triple H.
Lost the pose down, though, against Scott, so he did give some back.
Yeah.
You know.
Shaved his beard and looked weird. Like a big old gassed up baby.
There's a football...
Nash twice. Oh, this is me talking. Sorry, Nash thrice.
Football podcast that I enjoy, and the lads made a bet this week, by the way. 2 lads who've both got... Well, one's got a better beard. It's a bit like... Maybe like me and you betting our beards, Phil. But they bet on the result of the Arsenal PSV game. Now, that's not finished, of course. Second leg still to come.
Okay.
Arsenal are 7-1 up, and it's maybe get the old razor out, eh? Right, question 5. 4-0 to Hamflett so far. You got this.
I got this.
Which move was voted the best wrestling maneuver in the Wrestling Observer Awards for 2003? Was it the F5, Canadian Destroyer, the Styles Clash, or the Widow's Peak?
Oh, good.
Victoria.
Good options.
Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Not yet, but should be. Congratulations to Natural Disasters, by the way.
Lovely feeling that. It's nice
That's
that they're
fantastic.
going. Yeah.
Phil, why not? Canadian Destroyer, because it is better than all the other ones.
No, dear, that's wrong.
That was probably 2004. Wasn't it?
Yeah, I was wondering whether it
correct
was a bit
answer.
too early.
Peter Williams. I think you got it a couple of years in a row for that.
Yeah. You've selected all possible candidates. I will go with the Styles Clash.
I hate the Styles Clash's move. It's
Yeah.
awkward and crap.
I think it's like,
Every now and then someone gets it where it flows right.
yeah.
But it's very, very rare.
Yeah.
That little
Need Styles
gotta get
versus-
my leg round.
Need Styles versus
Okay,
Ospreay,
there we
don't we?
go.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
I think it was 2003 in the FWA over here, actually. He did it to Johnny Storm off the top rope, and that looked like plunging to your death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Imagine the upside down sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's got a pass, though, because all top rope moves have that little bit of awkward maneuver thing
Yeah.
while they're getting ready to do it, which is fair. You're on the top rope,
Yes.
you're really high. So I think that gets past, but just just doing it normally.
And he has to
don't
wait
like
and to
it.
make sure the wrestler's not thick and trying to tuck their hair,
Yeah, there
which
is
is
that.
against all natural.
I know, I'll have a move that goes against everything everyone
true,
learned
yeah.
in wrestling school.
Question 6. What was the most disgusting promotional tactic used in 2003? Was it Al Wilson getting shagged to death, the McMahons being all over the product, the IWA using Invader 1, or Katie Vick? What a murderous row that is. Widow's Peak was class. People in the chat loving that.
What was the first one?
Al Wilson getting shagged to death.
Hamflett. I'll go Al Wilson getting shagged to death.
No, dear, that's wrong.
I think that came second or third, maybe.
Well, I mean, it didn't matter. They both came.
Katie Vick, just because of how in your face it was.
No, dear, that's wrong.
Screwed brain. That was 2002.
There you
It
go.
all sucked, Phil.
It all
It was all
sucked.
bad stuff.
But it was the McMahons being all over the product. This was 2003 was Stephanie McMahon versus Vince, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had a fight the week before Stephanie got married. Vince was at his worst. Like, this is, for shorthand, this is like jacked up Pink Lobster era Vince.
Oh, I've watched
Sore
that
throat
match.
era Vince.
Yeah.
Instead of not being back to watch 2003, I've seen it occasionally. And obviously, it's that and Triple H Goldberg.
Feuds
Or
with,
Goldberg in the Elimination Chamber.
like, gets high on his own supply because, like, the Hogan match is a surprise hit at WrestleMania. Like, we'll just do this all summer then. He
Yeah.
does the Mr. America stuff and,
Good stuff.
starts wearing a Hawaiian shirt as part of his outfit for some reason in the summer. I don't like it.
Question 7, 5-0 to Hamflett. In TNA, the night before John Cena turned babyface, CM Punk teamed with Julio De Niro against Kid Cash and Laz. But which singer was Laz a fan of? Was it Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Beyonce, or R. Kelly?
One of these things is not like the other.
Yeah.
Phil, R. Kelly, just because it's a really weird one for you to add in.
No, dear, that's wrong.
I
Your big
googled
guy.
biggest musicians in 2003. I was like,
yeah.
oh god, yeah, it's a different time, isn't it?
Ignition came out in 03, didn't it? It was probably his biggest song.
Britney, Christina, Beyonce. They're so famous you don't even need their second names.
Britney.
Yay!
I'm not totally hot on that one.
Not many people big fans of Laz online, by the way, from my
No.
research into this. It's like he was in TNA for a bit and he was crap. Yeah. But he was like a mime. He was like LGBT mime who also liked Britney Spears. I sense it's probably not aged well, any of this.
No, a lot of that early TNA is, oh boy.
But sticking with TNA, question 8. Around the time of Cena's turn, in TNA, Kid Cash faced Abyss. But what, peak TNA this, Phil, was on a pole in their first blood match? That's right. Why not have 2 matches in one? Somebody's on a pole to get the first blood. Was it a spiked baseball bat, a chair, a knife, or a rat?
Knife. That'll do it, kids.
In my head, I have that kid from the Vine. What have you got there? A knife! Oh, God!
They're all so dumb.
Do you want to take a punt first, Phil?
Yeah, why not? A rat.
No, dear,
Was on a
that's
pole at some
wrong.
point.
That would happen years later with Goldust's character. We had a rat called. It'll come to me in a bit.
I'll look it
kick
up.
myself for it. But yeah, it was when he was doing his bin bag run.
Good.
And he had a rat in a cage.
Good.
And a hammer with a spike on it. Misty, thank you.
Black Rain.
Black Rain. Yeah, he had his hammer with a spike on it and a rat, obviously.
Yeah, why not?
It was, I think, was it
The
that?
objective of the match is first blood. Just get a chair from under the ring. Why bother with... No? Am I stupid in saying that?
No, not stupid at all. TNA's pretty stupid for saying that. Is that you seen Abyss is in the new game?
Is he?
You can be Abyss. Obviously, he's never wrestled in WWE, so that's pretty cool and part of the TNA thing. And now he's worked there for years.
Can he have him be your assistant like when he was with AJ Styles for a bit?
Yeah, that was so good.
That was great.
They definitely should have kept that.
Should have held on to
going,
that,
'cause,
shouldn't they?
Yeah, his facial expressions and stuff in that was wonderful.
Well, it makes me think, because I'm curious to see what entrance music he gets for the game. I wonder if he's going to do the Rumble like next year or something, as Abyss. Like, he gets a little run or as Abyss in WWE. New Jack's in the game.
I did see that because I saw someone sharing some interesting clips on X about what New Jack could do in the game. And I was like, I don't think he's going to do that, to be honest, mate.
Like, obviously, they're presumably not going to get the rights to Natural Born Killers.
Yeah.
But I do hope that whatever song is given to him, I would recommend the one that they used to use on the Delta ECW DVD releases because it was like generic file music. But it was pretty great.
Yeah.
But leave it running as you're having your New Jack. I would love that.
Keep an eye out on next week's ups and downs, by the way, if you're a fan of 2K25. Just saying.
Yeah.
It'll almost be as good as this week's Raw ups and downs, people are saying.
I heard that it wasn't just CM Punk screaming bold fraud down a camera this week.
Can neither confirm nor deny. I'm just glad we don't see Simon for a while. He'll forget.
Yeah, you might have forgotten by Vegas. I'll remind him.
I like this. I like this question. Question 9. Which AEW superstar made their wrestling debut in the year that John Cena was a heel? 2003. Was it Eddie Kingston, John Moxley, Ricochet, or Matt Jackson?
That is a good question.
I'm hoping to hit Sidge with that before he goes home.
Do you want to take a punt, Phil?
I kind of want to get it wrong though, but
For the story of all this.
I will go with Matt Jackson.
No, dear, that's wrong.
John Moxley.
No, dear, that's wrong.
Ricochet is the correct
go.
answer.
Damn.
There's that picture of him with long hair when he's posing with
Yeah.
Triple H, and you wouldn't think then he's
Skinny
a
little guy
wrestler.
with long hair.
Yeah.
I think Kingston was 02 maybe, and Mox and Matt Jackson, I think. And maybe even Nick Jackson, possibly. All 04. Which means, Phil, you're on a big fat 0. But I have faith in you with question 10.
Hello.
Oh, I got 7.
You got... Did you get Brittany?
Yeah.
Brittany.
Oh,
You got the Abyss one wrong and the last one wrong, so
7.
yeah,
Yeah,
7.
because that's what we're doing. It like this. The 10th question is always worth 7 points. That always like plays out like that.
It's a tough one as well this week. Question 10.
I'm sure it's definitely not A.
Ricochet debuted in 2003, but
Where's the tentative link going? Here we go.
2003 also saw the debut of which wrestler?
That wasn't that, man.
Was it?
Boobs McTittywank.
So close.
Can we make a new quiz within a quiz where Wilbourn says A and that's the answer, and then we have to guess some of his options before he gives us them? Give us A. Give us A from you 4, Wilbourn.
Okay, 2003 also
Isaac
saw
Wankham.
the debut of which wrestler? Porn star Juan.
Right.
Yep. Here we
Porn
go.
star
That's-
Juan.
Bill, that one.
Jazzmag John.
Hey.
His options are Jazzmag John,
Okay.
Grot Gary, and
Comslut Jones.
Oh, I tell you what, you're really close, Phil.
go on then. What are the other options?
The options, you don't need them, but I'll give them to you anyway.
Yes, please.
For anyone playing at home. So 2003 also saw the debut of which wrestler? Porn star Juan, Blowy Joey,
Good.
please welcome, making his way down to the ring, Handjob Henry.
I thought you were going to go with Handy Andy when he said Blowy Joey.
Blowy Joey, Handjob Henry, or Cum Shot Barry. You're so close.
You'd got 7 points for getting it right, but you'd got 8 if you'd have nailed one of them as well.
So congratulations to everybody, all winners of this week's quiz. Let us know how you got on in the quiz, if you blew your load or not, in the comment section below, or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch, they can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett. Oh, sorry, you can follow Phil Chambers at
Filth Mike Chambers. You can follow Adam Wilbourn at
Adam Wilbourn. You can follow us all at WhatCulture WWE, as I said.
Willyborn.
Make sure you subscribe.
he debuted in 2000.
It's Silly Eilish at the beginning.
Yeah, it's Billy Eilish himself.
Subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from. 4 daily wrestling podcasts. The SmackDown preview with Confectionery Corner is available right now to get you excited about tonight's show. And as I mentioned before, Hamflett and Sidgwick's big AEW Revolution preview will be dropping tomorrow. Do join all of us on Monday to review AEW Revolution as well. But for now, this has been WrestleCulture. Thanks to everyone who joined us. Apologies to the chat. But my thanks to Hamflett, to Phil. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon. WrestleCulture is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
WhatCulture.com/tickets.
Buffering.
I don't know if you can